Hello and welcome to Inspired Ideas with Diane Cunningham Ellis. And my very special guest today is Angie Monroe. And she is a woman here in the Dallas area that I've actually known quite a long time, virtually, I believe.
Mhm.
But then we've reconnected in a powerful, sparkly way recently because we're both kind of extra. And we had a long little joke about that before I hit record, but being extra is really a beautiful thing. So, Angie, welcome to the podcast. Tell them a little tiny bit about your business because we're going to get into more of that in a little bit.
Okay, I am Angie Monroe on Facebook. I'm known as Angie Lee Monroe. So if you find me, it's not spelt the right way either. It's not like Lee Jeans, it's Leigh. So, but I have a business just under my own name, but we do a variety of momentum building activities to help Christian entrepreneurs, podcasters, speakers, writers uh, build revenue from sharing their story and being transparent with their audience and their crowds. So it's been a long journey to get to this specific place with what I'm doing, but I'm excited about where it's going and helping all of those that are sharing their story be able to make money either for them or for a charitable cause they want to make money for.
hmm And so, what you might not know if you're listening or watching is is Angie is a veteran. There's a poster behind her if you're watching the video, but if you can't see the video, there's a poster. So Angie's a military veteran. She's got a group called Warrior Divas that is a strong, powerful group of women that are former military. And she's also creating a new thing that's called the Teal Heart Society. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, the Till Heart Society is when you share your hard story, you kind of want to have a place for people to find the healing that you found on the other side of your hard story. So, part of my hard story is that I experienced military sexual trauma while I was serving. And it dawned on me one day talking to a friend of mine that when somebody gets injured while serving in battle, they get a Purple Heart. They
Hmm.
might get a Medal of Honor depending on if it had valor. There's a lot of these different medals and honors you get for being somebody that put your life down for your country.
Right.
But there was nothing for people that went in, raised their hand, served, and was serving gallantly, and they came back wounded, and they were scars most people didn't see or know about because they were the secret survivor scars of being sexually assaulted while serving. So I created a look, and it's called the Teal Heart Society, and I'll share the logo there.
Hmm.
So it's a combination of Purple Heart,
Hmm.
Medal of Honor type of look, just to let those women know that we see their scars. We want to see them healed and healthy again. And that's the journey of those that come alongside us in the Teal Heart Society.
And I love this. I love everything that you're doing, by the way, and you know that.
Mhm.
And I mean, it's just such an inspiring mission. And I know that the military is about mission
Right.
and it's about service and calling. And I love that word gallantly.
What I couldn't say.
Yes. Yes, because there's certain words we don't hear very often, or certain words that are popular in different departments of the world, but that's what a great word. And to be able to help women, so many women, unpack these stories of trauma and provide safe places for them to share. And this is like only one piece, so you have your regular business. Oh, by the way, you and your husband have a business. So there's a
But
plumbing.
wait, there's more.
There's more. There's the plumbing business, there's your business, there's Warrior Divas, there's the Teal Heart Society. So I mean, you are a woman on a divine mission to serve.
Right. And I don't know if you can tell by the sound that just kicked on in the background, but we're living in an RV while we're doing all this. So that would be the sound of the noisy air conditioning that I thought I had turned it up high enough that it'd be a sweatbox by the time we got done with this. And you would see me in all my glistening, shimmering glory. But apparently the AC decided to kick on. So
I can't hear it at all. I can't hear it at all.
hallelujah. But it's got to be the noisiest AC I have ever heard. But anyway, all that to say is doing everything that we do, the Warriors and Divas, the Teal Heart Society, my husband's plumbing business, all of this is for us to find a way to give back to our community, whether it be our local community or to our veteran community. My husband and I both being veterans, being parents of a veteran, being daughters of a veteran,
Mhm.
that's very important to me. And both my parents working for local and federal government, we have a desire for community impact.
Mm.
So it's bred into us, as they might say.
Yeah, I guess I didn't realize all of the veterans in your family. I didn't know that part.
Right. I have been told by my aunt that's done all the research that I can technically be a part of the Daughters of the American Revolution because we have somebody in our family all the way back. As a
Oh.
matter of fact, we just lost a family member Veterans Day that was a World War II POW. He was 99 years old and he passed away on Veterans Day. What a beautiful testimony to his life of he and his loving wife for over 65 years of marriage. And then he passed away and he left a big hole in his community because he was very involved in his community.
Mhm.
So I'm just trying to live my family legacy.
I love that. I've thought a lot about legacy this year, that word and what that means. And the other word that I just picked up on, you are a builder of communities.
Mm,
Yeah,
right.
I mean, you come from the military community, and then you've created these other communities for people to gather to share, learn, grow, experience, and just hugely important.
Well, and I think it's also important to know what role you play in each community. Some communities I'm more like a mom, some communities I'm more like a friend, other communities I'm a coach, other communities I'm a drill instructor. So finding the right community, and sometimes I'm just the comic relief.
Yes, you are. You did that already today. So you recently jumped in and joined what's called the Braver Together Mastermind. And so tell me what led you to do that because I'm featuring all of you that are inside and what led you to take a look, make the decision, and come inside.
Well, part of it is, that saying you're the whatever the average of the five people that you hang around with the most. And I started looking around and realizing that there was a lot of people that I was helping, but I really didn't have anybody pouring into me.
Mhm.
And I needed somebody that would be pouring into me. I needed, I've had coaches and gurus before, and then I've gotten into their system or their program, and my level of excellence was a little bit stronger than their level of excellence. And that really bothered me. So I've watched you for going on 14 years now. I think it is. 2010 is when we first connected on Facebook. So
Oh
uh,
my gosh.
yeah, and uh, longevity is huge for me. Somebody that is consistent in longevity, because my number one strength in Strength Finders is adaptability. So I know consistent people are needed in my life. Don't tell my mother I said that because her number one is consistency. Tells you so much about our relationship growing up. But with that, you had consistency. You had loyalty too. You've had several people that have been part of your mastermind for years, and they're growing and they're producing and they're constantly evolving. And those were things that I was looking for wanting to move forward for where I'm at because I was doing so much for other people. All of my stuff was not digitized while I was digitizing other people's. It was not automated while I was automating other people's. My website was not the standard that I wanted it to be. Things weren't working for me, but I was doing a lot of work and I was being worn out while doing it. And I just needed a running partner, a
Mhm.
challenger that would call me on my stuff. And you've seemed to do that quite well, maybe a little too emphatically, but that's what I asked for. So it's not too bad. And I catch myself telling on myself more than anything.
Well, and I'm just looking at the calendar going, I mean, you just joined like what on November 4th or something, and
Right.
how much you've done in just a huge short time. And we're recording this on Friday, the November 22nd. It's like you just needed a little, like you said, a running partner, uh, and
Yeah.
a game plan to stop putting everybody else first.
Well, and I think the other beautiful part of it too is last fall I was at an event and I took my husband with it, and it was in Charleston, South Carolina, beautiful time. And he kept looking at me. He's a plumber, get it? He goes to the plumbing warehouse and he sits around there, talks with his buddy. He can ask the guy at the counter, I need this part, and that guy can go, okay, well, if you're getting that part, do you need this pipe? Do you need this tool? Do you need these things? And between the guy working the counter and the other plumbers, he's got a tribe around him, right?
Mhm.
I didn't have that for what I was doing because my husband's great at any project I want him to work on. But when it comes to the technology stuff, I didn't have that banter. I didn't have that engagement. I didn't have that understanding from him. So when I took him to that event in Charleston, I said, this is my plumbing counter for me. This is where I go, and people understand what I'm trying to do and the pieces that come together to help me get there. And um, it it was still, even though it was that in that group, the leader of that group really wasn't challenging me and pushing me. And
Mhm.
so I believe in that philosophy: hire slow, fire fast.
Mhm.
And so I immediately got out of that event so that I could focus on what I needed to focus on, and be proactive in what I said I'm going to do.
Hmm. Yeah, I love that because I need to be, I mean, I love our group so much. I mean, it's my favorite thing. It's my favorite thing to do. I believe that we can, not just me, we serve, and we're all together.
Right,
And that the more people we welcome, we make more room at the table. And we have so much more room because there's so many more women that need exactly what we have.
right,
And that, everybody's knowledge gets brought and we get to go, I don't know the answer, but over there she does and she does. We know they do.
right,
Um, and we need that so desperately. And it's why I pay to be in masterminds. It's why I pay to travel to events just like you do. Just again, the community, the collaboration, and the challenge, right?
right,
I'm able to do so many more brave things just because I know, hey, I've got people watching.
right.
And I had no idea that you were watching since 2010, right? Because I mean,
Right.
did we never meet in person until this last summer?
Yeah, we didn't meet in person until July of 2024.
That is just blowing my mind.
Right. That's the crazy part that I love about social media. I have actually been in the airport before and somebody walk up to me and go, "Hey, I follow you on social media." Yeah, and I'm like, "What? I don't think I have a significant impact." You don't think that, but
Mhm.
you never know who's watching. And my dad called that keeping the legend alive. Because when
Mhm.
we were growing up, and we did it with our kids, when we were growing up, we never knew who in the community was watching our actions, how we were behaving, or whatever. And my dad was a cop in the town I grew up in. So it always got back to him.
Oh.
And so with that, I think that's something key, especially in this social media society, is keep pushing through, keep being strong, keep being forward focused. I have a phrase that I've used on my social media every year. It gets the most likes every year, and it's that quote that says, it's in the rearview mirror, and it says, quit looking backwards, you're not going that way. And so if we just keep pushing forward
Mm,
towards not greatness, not popularity, not any of that stuff, but our calling,
right.
then we're going to be where we need to be when we need to be for the right people to connect with at the right time. So
Amen, girl. And what's that quote? Keep the legacy alive. That was what did you just say?
keeping the legend alive.
Oh, keeping the legend alive.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So you never know where your father's watching you. And so that is such a that could be such a factual statement, earthly statement, or it could be a spiritual statement too. So
Yeah, that's so good. I mean, I always get so much out of recording these podcasts and talking to everybody because it's like, okay, I need to get these juicy nuggets too, which is
right.
why I named this podcast Inspired Ideas, because I just want one idea can change everything. One,
Well, we were at an event yesterday with Terry Lee Harrison, and a lady named Michelle was singing, but she shared a phrase yesterday that was just a beautiful phrase. And she said, the enemy is never after your talents. He's never after your ability. He's never after your family, your health, your wealth. He's never about any of that. He's always after your faith. If
mm,
he can steal your faith, he can destroy you.
wow.
And I was just like, and I ad lib what she just said. You too can be a professional speaker. But but that whole thing of, if he takes our faith in God, if he takes our faith in ourselves and our talents and I
Yes.
mean, that's where we get destroyed, is when they go after our faith.
Mm,
I can't let social media trolls come after my faith in myself. I can't let, a bad deal come after my faith. I have to pick up, I have to dust off, and I have to move on and learn the lesson and move on, make adaptations if I need to, but move on.
mm. It's
Being military, adapt and overcome.
is that one of the phrases?
Yep. Adapt and overcome. And my favorite one is embrace the suck, which, yeah, I actually had a magazine a few years ago, and I really had wanted to put embrace the suck on the front of the magazine. And my friend goes, but you're going to speak at a Baptist church next week, and you don't want those sitting on the table. I'm like, okay. So we said embrace the storm on the cover, but when I wrote the editorial on the inside, I used the phrase embrace the suck because that's me. That's my military side. That's, and when the sucky things happen, look at it. You can celebrate. I wrote a blog one time, got trolled over it, huge trolling over this blog. And I was on vacation when they wrote it. And I got up, threw my computer down in the chair, and did a little happy dance because I was disrupting the people. Even
Yes.
though they were bashing me, I was disrupting them and making them think along other lines about what I wrote.
Mm,
So,
yeah. I mean, I really believe that that's part of our job is to provoke people.
I'm
And
good at that.
you are good at that. I feel like I'm getting better. I
Mhm.
feel like I'm willing to make people angry or ask hard questions or just dig deeper because you know what? We need somebody that's willing to look in our eyes and say, I don't believe what you just said because I've seen you do different. You know,
Right.
I see what you're capable of. And, in the military, you don't get to decide like, oh, I don't want to do that today, right? You don't get to be like, no, I'm tired. I'm not coming to work. It's just
I
not
need a mental health day.
right. Yeah. I was talking to my friend about that this week, and her coach is former military. And he just, continually says, like, we didn't get that option when I
Right.
was, over there serving. And
Right.
so we can make everything like so we can turn it, like how can I serve today?
Right.
What's my form of service? And how do I consistently, let's say a word you said earlier, how do I consistently show up so that the woman I met on Facebook in 2010, we finally meet in person in 2024, and just be diligent about what you're called to say, serve, teach, lead. It's important.
Right. Right. It's huge.
It's huge.
It's huge.
Okay, I have,
And it's so simple, but it's huge.
and it, yes. We make it way more complicated, I think, than it is.
Right.
So I'm going to change gears and ask you something I know about you and probably others. You've lost a lot of weight.
I have.
You've lost a person.
Yep. And I still have my husband.
So tell us a little bit more. I'm curious about how that has changed you.
A lot of it is I feel like I'm worthy of being seen again.
Hmm.
I think that's something that if you're struggling with your weight, I know people that are happy with their weight. They may be overweight, they may be out of shape in the world's eyes, and they're happy with their weight. That I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about I was unhappy. I was hurting. I was sluggish. I wasn't feeling good. Um, my clothes didn't fit right. I was starting to realize that the airplane seat didn't fit right. There were things that were really starting to bother me. And I was one of those when I went into the military, I had to gain 7 pounds the last week before I went in to be able to go in because I was underweight. So
Wow.
being overweight was huge for me. And it's weight that came on um, in the middle of a crisis in our marriage in 2003. So, I mean, I had carried the weight for a while and it didn't all come on at once, but a big chunk of it did. And then it just kept going from there and just kept creeping up from there. And it wasn't until I started doing some research and learning about thyroid
Hmm.
stuff. And I'd been telling my doctor a long time, I think I've got a thyroid issue. He kept testing it and goes, it's borderline. Well, then they started talking about antibodies. I started learning about how to have my antibodies tested. Once I learned how to have my antibodies tested, then we found out that I had Hashimoto's.
Mm.
So 2003 was when all this started happening. 2021 was whenever we found out I had Hashimoto's.
Wow.
So by that time, I had already had a hysterectomy. I had already had all these other things happen to me that may have, not 100% sure, but if we had caught my thyroid stuff earlier, could have been avoided. There
Hmm.
was a lot of things going on with my hormones there. So my first thing that I had to do was get my hormones regulated. I had gotten to a point that from October till March, I was pretty much an invalid. I could not do anything. I couldn't lift my head up. I didn't put makeup on, didn't do my hair. Just, it was horrible. And I was feeling like less of a person and I wasn't attracted to myself. How could I attract clients? How could I attract people on social media, much less my husband? Why my kids want to be around me? I
Hmm.
don't want to be around me. It was a depression kind of
Yeah.
fog coming on, and brain fog was horrible. I couldn't think, I couldn't process. And once I got all the hormones regulated by getting on a thyroid medicine, getting on a progesterone supplement, getting on. Um, I actually went and got the pellets done for my health. Once I started balancing all of that, I started seeing the scale move.
Mm.
Once you start seeing the scale move in the right direction, you kind of want to start not self sabotaging yourself.
Right?
Before that,
Right?
it didn't matter what I did. I was either going to gain a little weight or I was going to stay right where I was at because I was just a bump on a log. But once the hormones and everything got to feeling better and doing better, I'm on a strict regimen. I have my little pill tablet thing that I take out every day, and I have 3 times a day. Yes, I am that old lady that I do that with, but it works. It keeps me functioning. It keeps me moving. It keeps me clarity. I've worked more this week on stuff early morning, late night, and I've been mentally sharp. Doing that in November of
Mm.
all times would not have been possible 3, 4 years ago.
Mm.
So that was when I was at 329 was my highest weight. And so I got down to about 225 and I kind of stalled. And when I stalled, there was nothing I could do to get any help. And at that point, I went back to my doctor. I said, we need to make some adjustments. We need to do things. And that's the part of it is I was a partner with my doctor. I,
Mm,
I found a doctor that listened to me, heard me, didn't blow me off, really did all the tests. If I wanted a test, they'd ask me why. And if I could justify it, they're like, okay, absolutely, we'll do it.
mm,
Even this last blood work I had, I just knew they were going to go in and change my meds because it showed me a little high in one area. And she goes, but we're going into your slump. So I think I'm going to keep you there. I'm like, yes, I was coming in prepared to fight you over that. But she's like, no, we're going to keep you going in the right way. So it wasn't until recently that I'm trying the trizepatide just to get the last 40 to 50 off because we all know that that last little bit is the hardest, but I'm down from 225 to 190 now. So it's working. So I hadn't seen the 100 since 2003.
oh my,
So it's huge. I was showing my husband pictures the other day and going, it's hard to believe that I was this at one time and now I'm this. I can see the difference. It's not, I can see it in my energy. I can see it in how I carry myself. I can see it in the confidence. And I can see the bigger part is I can see it in other people's confidence in me
mm, mm-hmm.
because I look like I can deliver what I'm promising them because I'm taking care of myself.
Yes, that's so good. I never knew you. Of course, I only recently met you.
Right.
Um, and so all of that came as a shock to me, right?
Right.
And I was like, oh, you know what?
Right.
I've seen some of the pictures, but I see your eyes are twinkly, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the passion and I've weighed a lot more than I weigh now as well. And I don't want to be weighed down, right? I mean, it's
Right.
just that like release anything that's keeping me from living my purpose. And,
Right.
especially extra weight, right? So that we can go forth, conquer, serve the world, and, really transform lives, including our own, because
Right.
you're transforming your own, and that's inspiring to the world.
Well, and that's the other part of it too, is it wasn't just the transforming of the medical side of it, it was also the internal work too. Um, the hardest part for me was in 2014, my daughter had twins, and I was starting to worry that I wouldn't be able to do anything with the twins.
Mm.
I mean, my grandson, a few years later, we were playing and he wanted me to ride his scooter. I said, no, I don't want to. And he goes, why? Because you're fat. And he's 3. He's not thinking anything of it, but it made me want to get on that scooter because I'm one of those, you don't tell me no about something. Now I want to get on the scooter. The next time I was with my husband, we were in Memphis. We went and we rode all over Memphis on scooters, and I had him record me so we could prove to my grandson I could ride a scooter. But
Right.
it's that it also in 2014, I started doing a lot of my heart work and my healing work on past traumas and compounded traumas that had happened to me
Mm,
and didn't realize how much of that weight I
mm,
was carrying. And as I started shedding some of that weight,
mhm,
then the rest of the stuff started falling into place a little better too. So it wasn't just hormones, it wasn't just dieting, it wasn't I had to do the heart work. And my biggest thing that I tell women now is I've been to those dark places. I've looked back in them and I've walked through them through counseling. I've walked through them through coaching. I've walked through them through amending the soul group, holding my book up to my chest like this, not wanting to share my answers with anybody. But at the end of it, walking through that lighter, freer, more open, more willing to share my story. I'm ready to shine that light back into the dark, stretch my hand in there and say, come on, I know the way. Let's get out of this.
mm.
And that's truly what I do when I'm working with people in coaching. That's what I do when I work with people with the Teal Heart Society. That's what we're going to be doing with the things we have coming forward for Warriors and Divas. So
Girl, you're a badass.
I'm trying to be. I just look corny now.
Well, your story is an inspiration, which is why I wanted you come on here. And I feel like we've just gotten started with our connect, our love connection. And
There's a throwback.
we're doing a lot of cool things together, not just in the mastermind, but with the National Association of Christian Women Entrepreneurs. And we've got so much to look forward to.
Right.
Is there anything else? What would you want to say? Here's your final question. If somebody's thinking about pondering, waiting out on the wings about joining the Braver Together Mastermind, what would you say to them?
If you want to be where you're at today in a year, then don't join. But if you want to move faster, you want running partners, and I don't really run, that's figuratively. If you want running partners, people that will hold you accountable, and a sisterhood that can talk about the hard stuff with you too, we've got a seat for you. That's what we're here for.
Mhm.
And um, it's fun, but it's challenging. And I think we all find our better selves when we've been challenged.
Amen. Well, tell them how to find you at tell them how to find you on the World Wide Web, and then I'll finish and tell them how to find me.
So Angie Lee Monroe, Leigh is how I spell my middle name. It's like a field, is what that means. I'm a field. So Angie Lee Monroe, .com. You can find me on social media under that as well, whether it be on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all the things there. And then maybe we'll have to continue this conversation some more once I get my show up and running next week for Pink Chair Ponderings.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, I come on your podcast. Yeah,
yeah, that'll be
awesome.
fun.
Sign me up.
All
Uh,
right.
yeah, so you can find me at dianecunningham.com, and the mastermind page is there. Angie, thank you so much for doing this with me, and I will talk to you soon.
All right. Sounds great.
Bye.
Bye.